Welcome and thank you for joining us for this online public meeting in support of the development of our Transportation Improvement Program. We will be accepting comments from February 22nd through March 3rd of 2016, and we welcome you to encourage others you know to join us online as well. First, let me talk a little bit about what an MPO is. We are an agency that is regional in nature, multimodal in nature, created by federal law primarily to help local transportation partners develop a long range and short range vision for how we want to invest our transportation dollars, all those federal dollars that are coming into our region for transportation projects. We do this for an area that includes over 2 million residents, 10,000 lane miles, and over 50 million miles traveled daily. So that's a really big area. All of Bexar County, all of Comal and Guadalupe, and as you can see, a portion of Kendall County is covered by our local Alamo area Metropolitan Planning Organization. As an MPO, we follow federal guidelines for how we operate, and one of the things that is requested of us is that we go through a 3C process, meaning a cooperative, comprehensive, and continuous process. So our primary role, again, is to help local transportation partners plan for transportation needs and for those transportation investments. We are guided through this process by a transportation policy board made up of 21 individuals from across the region representing all of our transportation partners. This includes everyone from the City of San Antonio and Bexar County to the City of Boerne, Comal County, the City of New Braunfels, City of Seguin, our Northeast Partnership members, as well as the Greater Bexar County Council of Cities. As an MPO, we're required to produce 3 primary documents. The first is our Unified Planning Work Program, and you can think of this as our operating budget. It spans a time frame of 2 years and includes all of our staff hours, our operational budget items, as well as any studies that we may be conducting during that 2-year time frame. The second document, which is the major document that we put together, is the 25-year long-range plan called the Metropolitan Transportation Plan. We recently completed the update to this plan, and it was adopted in December of 2014, and it takes us through the year 2040. And then finally, the third document is the Transportation Improvement Program. This is the short-range plan, and these projects are those projects which we will fund and build over the next 4 years. And the primary reason for us being here with you today as we are working to develop the next transportation improvement program for our region, and we need your input to do that. A transportation improvement program, it covers a period of 4 years and is formally updated every 2 years. Another thing that's critical about the Transportation Improvement Program is that it's financially constrained, so we can only include projects for which we can reasonably expect to have funding over that 4-year time frame. We develop it with all of the transportation partners that I identified with membership on our Transportation Policy Board, and the next tip is tentatively scheduled to reach TxDOT by May 2016. So as you can see, we have a lot of work to do between now and then to complete our transportation improvement program so that we can send it to TxDOT for approval. The types of projects that you would typically see in a TIP are those that would add additional vehicle lanes to any of the roadways in our transportation network. They can also be bicycle and pedestrian facilities. It can include things such as operational or safety improvements, additional bus and van purchases, and other planning studies or transit passenger facilities. The primary funding source for our Transportation Improvement Program is Category 7, or the Surface Transportation Program Metropolitan Mobility Fund. We currently have about $100 million available in Category 7 funding. It's going to cover the years of 2019 through 2022, and again includes those types of projects I just mentioned, such as adding lanes, operational improvements, and transit projects. There are three things that the Transportation Policy Board will take into consideration when selecting projects for inclusion in the Transportation Improvement Program. Those are agency priorities, public input, and the technical score assigned to each of the projects. So, again, your public input and your participation is a key component to all of this. In order to be eligible for funding, a roadway must be functionally classified. So, what we mean by this, and here's a good example of that, are facilities or roadways that are larger in size and serve a larger purpose. So, these are not your local streets that are running in front of your home or in your neighborhood. It's the roads that are being used to travel across and throughout the region and connect various communities. This next slide simply shows the past two Transportation Improvement Program project calls, how many projects were submitted, and how many projects were selected, as well as the amount allotted for those projects. The current project call received 40 projects requesting almost $400 million. And again, we're only going to be able to fund about $100 million worth of those projects. Other projects that are in the TIP, because it's not just those that we've identified to this point, are those that for whatever reason were approved by the Transportation Policy Board in previous TIPs but have not yet been completed and therefore are being moved forward to construction. And so these are called our carryover projects. We also have some projects that were selected through VIA's and TxDOT's own internal project selection processes. A lot of steps have gone into getting us to the point that we're at today. It started with the announcing of a call for projects back in March of 2015. We then had a formal project call that began in June of 2015. This was followed by some joint workshops hosted by the MPO and TxDOT staff to help some of our regional transportation agencies get to know what types of information would be needed and the types of support that would be needed to submit projects for consideration. Then, moving forward in December, project submittals were due to the MPO. And that brings us to this year, 2016, where in January, the MPO's various work groups and committees spent some time developing that technical score that will be one of the three considerations that the Transportation Policy Board uses to make a decision. And that brings us to today, where we're at now, which is our MPO public meetings happening in February and March of 2016. Next steps in this TIP development schedule are to go to the Technical Advisory Committee in March of 2016 so that they can review the information collected at these series of public meetings as well as the technical scores and make a recommendation to the Transportation Policy Board. In April of 2016, the Technical Advisory Committee and Transportation Policy Board are then scheduled to take action on the Transportation Improvement Program. And then, as I mentioned previously in May, all of this will be submitted with the Transportation Improvement Program to TxDOT. Just to go over some of the projects that were submitted as part of this current call for projects, there are a total of 15 added capacity projects, 5 bicycle and pedestrian, 19 operational, and then another project that included the Alamo area Commute Solutions program. Again, this totaled 40 projects for close to $400 million. If you look at the breakout by agency, it looks a little bit different. You'll note that this is shown in terms of added capacity, bicycle and pedestrian, operational, and other. You'll also note that TxDOT seems to have quite a few projects in this call for projects. One of the reasons for this is that TxDOT submits all the projects on state roadways. So even if that project is in the city of Fair Oaks, Ranch, New Braunfels, Schertz, or Chavano, it still gets shown and counted as a TxDOT project. You can use this table to see the breakout, again, by the type of project, but also by the entity submitting the project. And on this slide, you can see all of the projects broken up by partner agency, the number of projects each agency submitted, the amount of funding requested, and then the percent of total submitted projects. So again, TxDOT is showing up as having submitted 57% of the projects, but this is primarily because they are on state facilities and they're submitting them on behalf of other partner agencies. And here's a map that shows the geographic distribution of the projects. All of the projects in red are added capacity projects, those in green are bicycle and pedestrian projects, and those in blue are operational projects. And then here you can see the projects that are on the existing tip that will also be moved or carried forward. Now, I mentioned the technical score. So there's three things that the Transportation Policy Board will take into consideration. One's agency priorities, and those are set by the individual agencies submitting projects. The second is public input, and you'll be providing that to us today. And then the third is the technical score. And so this gives you a breakdown of how that technical score is developed. It's based on a 1,000-point scale, and 50 points are added for providing additional local contribution of 1 to 10%, and 100 points are added for providing additional contribution of more than 10% beyond the required 20% local match. So as you can see, it's very competitive, and the more a transportation agency can submit on their behalf, the higher their technical score will be. So you found your way to this website. So I hope that you've visited our online website, which is alamoareampo.org. And if you have, you've seen the Transportation Improvement Program highlighted at the top of our page. You're always welcome to go here to get additional information. And also, as you already know, the submitted project list is available for you here at our online public meeting. Simply click on the link pointed to by the arrow. This is just a screen capture of what that looks like. So finally, we get to the important part, or that is, how can you give your input? How can your opinion be considered? On this online public meeting, there is a button that says Take Our Survey. If you click on that button, it'll take you to a brief survey followed by a budget exercise. It will look very similar to the one on your screen at this time. This is the version that we handed out at the public meetings. Your online version will work very similarly. You will have a budget of $100 million to purchase the projects that you would like to see constructed over the next 4 years. The online version will automatically calculate your total, so you'll need to be sure not to go over $100 million. In this way, we'll be able to compare your results with the results of those that are being submitted at our in-person public meetings. You will also be able to check the polling results online. So this information will be posted on our website at alamoareampo.org/yourmove. And you'll be able to see how your responses compare to those of others in our region. If you're looking at this from the comfort of your home, you may have opted to participate online, but if you'd like to come meet with us at one of our public meetings, we are holding 6 throughout the region. Those in February are in Bexar County, and then starting March 1st in Comal County, March 2nd in Kendall, and March 3rd in Guadalupe County. You're more than welcome to come visit with us at any one of those locations, or if you like, you can come see us at all. And finally, there's multiple ways to stay in touch with us, not just as part of this Transportation Improvement Program, but throughout the year on our various other planning initiatives. And you can do it by staying connected with us on our social media channels or by visiting our website at the alamoareampo.org. Thank you for joining us for our online public meeting presentation. Again, the online portion of our Transportation Improvement Program public outreach will be open from February 22nd to March 3rd, so please encourage everyone you know, friends, family, coworkers, to visit us online and provide their input on which projects are most important for our region over the next 4 years. Thank you and have a great day.